Hello and welcome to your desk therapy 30-minute practice. In this practice we're going to focus on mainly release for the body around the lumbar and the hips and into the hamstrings and things like that. A little bit of activation for the core, which can always help us support the posture, and some opening up in the heart. So we're going to stay low on the mat. We're going to stay down on our tabletop position mainly. You can, if you have a hard floor, I would recommend having something else to support you if your mat isn't very thick. In other words, you might have a blanket or something to support your knees and to be able to rest into the floor. So I'm going to start seated like so, or if something else, a different type of seat is more comfortable, so that you can sit a little up through the spine, just in a comfortable way. So often, sometimes when we cross our legs, we can end up sitting a little rounded in the spine. So if we have to shift our seat in order to sit up a little taller, we absolutely want to be able to do that because it actually makes us easier to breathe. So in your seat, whichever you've chosen, you might even prop up the sit bones. I invite you to close the eyes. And as you close the eyes, soften the forehead, soften the jaw. Visualize tension sliding off the shoulders, down from the neck and off the shoulders and away, letting the arms become just a touch heavier. Become aware of the sit bones on the earth. All the parts of your body touching the surface that you sit on. And the shape your body makes as you sit here. Just begin by tuning into your natural breath. What is your breath doing in this moment? And start to allow it to soften, deepen, and slow. And you may have done one of the 10-minute videos, the short sequences. The box breathing, you may have done this before. We're going to do that now. So if you haven't, it's just literally tracing the edges of a box in your mind and keeping each element of the breath the same length. So taking a really big deep breath in and side up. We'll begin and I'll guide you. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1, and pause for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1, and pause for 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep counting. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Pause. And do 3 more rounds in your own mind, your own breath, really tuning into this even flow. The breath is smooth and easy. The pause is just that, not a gasp or any tension within the body, just a pause and then continue. And each part of the breath, smooth and easy. That's it. And release the breath here. On your inhale, take the arms out and wide. Perhaps you open the eyes and have a look up towards your palms pressing. That's it. A little lift through the heart. So reach up through the sternum And then as you bring the hands down to thumb tips to heartbeat, soften the shoulders. And we'll begin our movements here. So we're going to turn into a tabletop position. So what that means is hands under shoulders and knees under hips. And that's really important for guidance. So often some people might have their hands too far forward or too far back, and that puts a lot of pressure on the wrist, but also in the shoulders. So nice even square. Same thing with the legs. Often people have their legs in close, which means that we're wobbly at the hips. So take yourself nice and square. From here we'll start with a cat-cow. Beautiful fluidity for the spine. So pressing the hands into the earth, zip the belly button up and round the spine. Press the ground away. This is often used, this posture. This is such an underrated. So drop down through the belly, pull the heart through the biceps. We think of this as just, oh, this is a nice way to warm up, but really this is such a promotion for spinal fluidity, spinal circulation. Pull the heart forward, which really allows the energy to flow. So as you press the ground away, lift the belly button up towards the spine and really press the fingers into the earth. And then as you pull forward, slide the shoulders back. Find a little squeeze in between your shoulder blades. Exhale round. Inhale, come forward. There's a really big difference between just kind of going through the motions or feeling all of the muscles move along the way and activating the body. One more each way. Let's go to a cat. And then a cow. Beautiful. And coming back to center. Let's challenge our balance here a little, and you really need to spread the fingers into the earth and keep the body, the hips in alignment. So tendency when we lift a leg is for the hips to come way off. So see if you can stay. Zip the belly button up towards the spine. That's where the strength is. Reach the left arm and the right leg away and really press through the heel and reach through the fingers. And balance here. If you need to, you can tuck the left toes and press, sort of kickstand into the floor for a little more support, really pressing the ground away with right hand. This is beautiful strength and support for the spine. And then come down slowly. So the key, the strength, is in as little wobble as possible as you do that. So you might tuck the right toes, press down through the left hand and reach out through right hand and left foot. If you did the other side, that's okay. There's that zip in the belly button up towards the spine and pressing through the heel and reaching through the fingers. That's it, and then come on down. One more each way. Reach out, so switching sides. Finding your length, and you'll zip up through your core. And come on down. Some of us might feel quite heavy in the body. It's super common. Reaching out, pressing down, zipping up. And come on down. We're going to add a little bit of spice here. So we're going to change, go left arm, right leg, so alternate. Now here, with your zip into the belly, bring the elbow and the knee together. So tuck it in as much as you can in and underneath you, and then reach out. And let's do that 2 more times. Exhale as you come in. Inhale to reach out, pressing the ground away with right fingers. One more, bring it in. And press it out. That's it. Pop it on the floor. Let's switch sides. Right hand, left foot, reach out. Bring it in and under. 2 more. Breathing in as you reach. Reaching through fingers and heel and tucking in as you come out. 1 more. Bring it in. And in and underneath you. Reach out. And pop yourself down on the floor. Beautiful. From here, bring the toes together. Take the knees wide and sink the butt back towards the heels. Now for some of us, coming down low might be too much for the groin. That might be a sign that the knees are a little too wide, or you just might not be as comfortable folding in the hips here, so you can rest on the forearms. Otherwise, reach up through the arms, or if the shoulders feel a little tight there, what's really nice is to bring hands like a pancake stack underneath the forehead, making yourself a little pillow. And here, I just invite you to take 3 big, expansive breaths and follow the breath from the throat to the tailbone. Beautiful space in the body as you do that. And one more breath here. That's it. We're going to reach up the mat with the left arm. Or if you are resting on elbows, that's okay. Just bring the left elbow slightly further forward and then tuck the right arm underneath. So you'll take it as far as you can and then let yourself sink with the support of that left arm down onto the outside of that right shoulder. So if you're up a little bit further, that's okay. Just lean a little, using a little bit of that zip from the core. That's okay. Wherever you are, press down through the outer edge of the right hand, a little bit like a karate chop into the floor. And keeping the hand where it is, pull the right shoulder away from it. Then you really create this release for that right shoulder. Yum is what comes to mind. It's a beautiful space opener. Whether you're sinking back or needing to be up a little higher in the knees, that's absolutely okay. We'll take one more breath there. That's it. With a little zip in the belly, come back to center. We'll simply switch sides. So try to do the same as you did on the other side. Now we're bringing right hand or arm forward and threading the left arm through and down. So try to keep the shoulder away from ear as you thread. Finding the support of the right arm however you need it. And then finding that karate chop, so that outer edge of the left hand, pinky edge. Press it down into the floor. And keeping it there, draw the left shoulder away from it. Yummy feeling. It's up to you how much of your body weight you let sink onto that outer shoulder. Feels super good. 2 more breaths here. There we go, so we're working through the posture in the body, opening up tense spots, and then gently unthreading the body, coming back up into your tabletop, so gathering the knees back underneath the hips. Now we take a little bit more release in the lumbar and the hips. So from here, I'm going to turn into a kickstand. I'm going to go my back to you first, but that's because you can actually see what's going on. So you're going to pick up the left toes, turn out from the knee, so you're at a right angle, and kickstand the toes into the floor. And as you do that, press into the left hand and reach the right arm and right leg away from each other. So get really long in the body. Beautiful big front and side body stretch. Really pressing the ground away with that left hand fingers. And that right arm doesn't have to come up by the ear. It can be at a bit of a right angle or hovering a little bit further in front of you. One more breath there. Remember, you're making whatever shape is available to you, and then slowly come back into your tabletop. So now we'll go the other way, and you won't quite see my right leg, but kickstand, so you're picking that foot up, turning it to the right, so it's a right angle, and then pressing the right hand away as you reach left arm and leg away from each other. Beautiful big space up through the rib cage. The arm can be slightly forward if the shoulder feels compromised in this shape. Or if it's the shoulder that's bothering you in this shape, you can still get this long stretch through here. Just bring the hands to the ribs or the hip. Absolutely okay. Pressing the ground away with the right fingers. Beautiful long line. Take another breath here. That's it, and then slowly coming down. Coming back into your tabletop shape. This is like our ground base. So from here, we're going to find a release through the lumbar. We want to stay square through the body first and picking up the right leg, sending it right out behind you. And then we're going to take that leg all the way over to the left and pop it on the floor. So I say all the way over, just as far as feels good for you. And keeping the hands where they are, turn the body, so draw the left shoulder towards the left hip. So you're going to shorten in this left side, and that will lengthen in the right side. So using the support of the hands, and with this shape now, you might lean a little into that right hip. You'll feel this in perhaps the right hip, the right side of the lumbar, and maybe into the glute. None of that is wrong, it's absolutely right. You're just drawing left shoulder towards left hip. Breathing down right side body. So bring expansive breath and you'll feel it down right side body. And breathing the breath out. That's it. Now keeping the hands where they are, turn the shoulders back. Now bring the right knee behind the left. So bring it onto the floor. So not to be confused with a child's pose. So we're not going to try and sink as far back as possible. Now walk the hands to the right so that your torso now is in line with your knees rather than turned. And then press your sit bones up and back. So rather than getting as far back as possible, you just want to press from the hands and send the sit bones back and up. So not the best view, but you'll totally get what's going on here. So really pressing up and back, sinking in, and there might be just a slight turn in the hips from one side to the other, and you might find a juicy spot that's needed. So I turned my hips to the left a little, and I found the release I needed in that right outer hip, in the IT band. Take 2 more breaths here. So these are all the places that get super tight and even a little bit stuck when we spend time in a seated position, longer periods of time. Basically sitting on our butt. And all of that pressure comes into the lumbar and the glutes and the hips, and we're winding that out. That's it, and then slowly unravel the body, walk the hands back along the mat to your tabletop shape. Do a rounded cat-cow here, so drop down through the belly. Now press the body, the rib cage, all the way over to the right, and then up and over to the left, and drop it down. And then when you get to the middle, switch sides. Press the body all the way over to the left, up, over, and down. Beautiful. Now we're going to repeat that same hip and glute release on the other side. So you're in your square, your hands are pressing into the floor, unzip through the core. Might kickstand the right toes, lift out through the left leg, send it right back and long. And then take it all the way over to the right. Pop it on the floor, so as far as you can. And from here we just turn in the shoulders. So using the support of the hand, draw the right shoulder back so you can look towards that foot. That really helps to turn the body. Right shoulder comes towards right hip. And perhaps, if it feels right for you, not looking for any pain or pinching, especially in the lumbar, lean into the left side. There might even be a little press or a little reach through those left toes, just depending on how much you need in this posture. Some of us, it actually serves us better to just find the space and feel a little bit more of a resting energy here. Others, if it feels juicy, you might want to lean into that juice. One more breath there. That's it. And then just bringing the shoulders back to center. Bringing that left knee to bend behind the right. Walking the hands to the left so that you're in line with the knees, spine is straight. And then pressing the sit bones up and back. So there could be a little sink back, but you're still lifting sit bones, those pokey parts right in the base of your butt, up and back. And you're using the hands to do that. So you're pressing length, just like you do. It's the same as a down dog. So when you're in your down dog, you really want to press from the hands and lift the sit bones up and back. Really leaning in, and there might be a turn for me. This time I take my right hip to the right a little more, and then I feel a little more juice that's needed for release on that left side. That's it, and just one more breath there. That's it, and then coming back to center. unraveling the legs, coming back to hip width apart with the knees. You're going to tuck the toes here and come to stand up on your knees. So again, you might need something underneath your knees if that's going to serve your actual kneecaps a little better. And then we're going to come into a camel, but start by really kicking the big toe mounds into the floor. So you tuck your toes, you're really pressing down, and let that press lift strength up through the legs and send your hip bones not just forward, but up a little bit. So your tailbone's going to move down. So now we've got the base of the body set up well. Then take a big roll in the shoulders and bring the hands either side of your sacrum. So either side of your tailbone. And as you kickstand again into the big toe mounds, press the hips forward and up, tailbone goes down. Use the hands to lightly press down to lift your heart up. You may not be as deep as you wish yet, but the space will come. If you want a little bit more, simply, really small move, but a big shift, squeeze the elbows towards each other. This will create even more space across the heart, across the chest. So we're reversing this posture of leaning and reaching forward, perhaps when we're working, and we're opening up. So we need this as often as possible. It doesn't mean that we want to endeavor to stay in this shape, but we're lifting and opening space into the intercostals and around the sternum and the heart. So take 2 more breaths here. There are deeper expressions of this posture, but we just want to stay with this one, pressing from big toe mounds, imagining that there's a piece of silk tied to your sternum here, right at the chest, and it's reaching you up towards the roof. Beautiful space. 1 more breath. And exhale it down. And then start with the chin, tucking, rolling all the way down. Come into a child's pose. Keep the knees close-ish. They don't have to be touching, that's for sure, but bringing them in rather than your wide position. Same as before with a wide position though, if you need to, you can rest on the elbows. You might reach up the mat, or you might take a slight bend in the elbows, maybe even make a stack underneath your head. Just like we did in our last child's pose, really expand the body with breath here. So bring it in, let it float from the throat to the tailbone and back, nice and slow and deep. One more breath here. That's it. And then gently sliding up. And we're going to flip over onto our back. Good news. So as you roll onto your back, I want you to gather your knees into chest and hands to knees and come into a hug. And you may even come into a bit of a rock as well. So your knees don't have to be super close if that doesn't feel right for you. Just allowing yourself to rock and roll. It's a nice way to align the spine and massage the adrenals and the kidneys. We're going to come into a happy baby, but first we're going to come into just a little bit of a pelvis release. So bring the hands on top of the same knee. And you're just simply going to take the knees wide, and as you do that, slide the hands down the shins as far as feels right, and then use the weight of the arms to pull the heels towards the butt. So just letting everything sink and melt here. And you'll feel this relaxed space in the lumbar. Just letting the breath ease through the body. Now this is a position that you can stay if happy baby doesn't quite work for you. Or from here, you're stacking the feet above the knees and reaching the hands for the outsides of the feet. If that doesn't work, that's okay. You can wrap your hands around the shins to draw the knees towards the armpits, or you might choose to pop back to where we started. If you do have a hands on the outsides of the feet, you're encouraging a flex there. whatever you've done to be able to get into this posture, maybe a rounding in the spine. See if you can now tuck and sink that tailbone back down towards the floor so that the whole spine from the back of the head to the tip of the tailbone is melting down. Encouraging the breath deep into the back ribs now, sending some fresh and loving energy into the kidneys and adrenals. A place that really supports us when we're stressed or just busy. A place that's a little too overstimulated in this present world. That's why these practices are so important, is to really support that nervous system, therefore, and the organs. I like to always bring special attention and TLC to the kidneys and adrenals. From here, just reversing, going back to where we started, letting the heels come towards the butt, letting the hands settle around the ankles or shins, breathing easy. And then slowly releasing the soles of the feet to the earth. Walking the feet out as wide as the mat. So wider than hips, if you don't have a mat. And when we roll from side to side, the feet stay where they are and we roll over the edges of the feet. So letting the knees, like window wipers, flow from side to side. Now you might not choose to go right towards the floor. You may stay high, that might feel better for your lumbar. Listening to those messages from the body is the most important thing. Just a couple more from side to side as we massage the butt and the tailbone. And feel this softness come into the front of the hips and the hip flexors. This is super important place to release, and if you join me for the 60-minute practice, we'll get into releasing around the front of the hips and the glutes, a little deeper into the lower body. That's it. And then gently coming back to center. And what might feel super good here is keeping the feet wide and let the knees knock in together so the thighs are leaning in on each other. This is such a juicy, lovely way to release the lumbar. Letting the arms rest by your sides. Or you might choose to stretch the legs out long. Letting the thighs roll out, toes roll out. Now, if you did that and you realize now that bent knees leaning in on each other felt better, then choose that. It's really you choosing what's best for your spine, particularly the lumbar, which is a place that takes a lot of load. So wherever you've chosen to be here, allow the body to melt into the surface that you lay, and allow the breath to be smooth and easy. And scanning the body for any areas of tension, any tight muscles still holding on, can you let them soften and sink? Letting the shoulders melt into the earth. Letting the butt and the pelvis melt into the earth. Feeling the weight of your arm and the weight of your legs. And let softness come down across your face, especially the forehead and the jaw. Softening in the throat and the back of the neck. And this opportunity for stillness and silence is just as important as the rest of your practice. We very seldom lay flat on our back, and it's super nourishing for the spine, for postural alignment and for energy flow. The stillness at the end of our practice, although this could feel like the most challenging part, as a time for us to absorb all of this beautiful release and strength and energy that we've created through this practice. It's like muscle memory in a way. Rather than stepping off to the next thing, the body gets a chance to remember and feel into this beautiful space. If the mind is busy and you don't want it to be, just tuning in, following your breath, just for a few moments more. Where does it start and where does it end? How does it flow? And as always, you can stay here as long as you like. Otherwise, gently, kindly start to move the body, fingers and toes. I really do encourage you to stay longer if you can. And rolling off to one side is a beautiful way to support the spine before you come up, because you've been laying flat. And then using the hands to help you press up to a seat wherever is comfortable. Together, let's take a big circle in the arms, breathe in. And exhale, bring hands down to heart center, thumb tips to heartbeat, to honor your body and the time that you've taken to take care of it. Lots of love from me, and I hope to see you in another class. Namaste.